You are never alone. You are never alone. Just reach into your heart and Allah is always there. You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Family Issues. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, peace, prayers and blessings of Allah are due upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his family, companions and those who follow him till the day of judgment. Ameen. In this episode, we are going to complete our discussion about how to solve conflicts, how to resolve conflicts within the family. Last week we had discussed what some of what Allah Azza wa Jal had told us in the Holy Quran about how to resolve conflicts within the family and how to take gradual steps in resolving the problems. As we discussed in the last episode, every day comes with new challenges and new opportunities as well. Since family is a team consisted of at least, of course, a husband and a wife, and definitely the children and countless, if there are children, alhamdulillah, conflicts of interest and opinions might and do happen. Consequently, we need to learn more about solving or resolving the conflicts within the family as a team. We are going to discuss the best strategies to avoid, first of all, as a precautionary measures, to avoid conflicts and then to solve them once they happen, and they will. How to listen, how to speak, how to avoid being nervous, how to absorb anger of the other party, all difficult things. How to negotiate, propose solutions, and act accordingly. Again, not easy. Everybody watching us will say this is not easy, but we have to learn it. Also, we'll try to know more about the differences between how men and women think inside and outside the home, and also the differences and the importance of the first 2 years of marriage and how to go through them safely. Statistics show that the divorce risk is the highest within the first 2 years. Of course, every rule has an exception, and we should always remember that divorce is abghad al-halal and Allah. We would like to hear your questions and your comments about this issue. Please call us on 00202 38 555 248 or 249, or call us online with our Skype account, Huda_TV. You can also give us your questions and your feedbacks on facebook.com/familyissues. That's one word. So it's www.facebook.com/familyissues, one word. And our email is familyissues@huda.tv. Your comments and suggestions always mean a lot to us. Dear brothers and sisters, time now to introduce to you our distinguished guest, and he is Mr. Tamer Hasib, Human Development Specialist. Thank you very much, Mr. Hasib, for being with us here. Assalamu alaikum, jazakumullahu khairan. And we would like to begin with you by asking you to give us an introduction, if you will, to lay a platform for us, a big frame where we can, work within when it comes to resolving conflicts, trying to avoid them and, of course, resolving them as well.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The first rule to start the journey between two parties, especially in marriage, is listening. People should learn how to listen to each other, how to respect opinions of each other, how to seek first to understand before getting understood. So listening as a technique is something that's a lifetime experience between married people, between partners, in business and the street, between friends. It's something that is extremely essential. It's the base for everything to come.
Right. So, although listening itself can be difficult at times.
It is very difficult.
You'll find some husbands telling you, well, I'm not convinced. I mean, you know, I've been listening for 30 minutes, I've been listening for an hour, my blood pressure is getting higher. You'll hear the wives say, why do I have to listen to him and he keeps on shouting all the time? I don't want to listen to this way of talking.
True. We all have challenges as human beings. We all have interests. We want to address our opinions. And it's very difficult for us to allow other people to address their opinions and their interests first before we address ours. So this is why here the difficulty comes, that we need to train ourselves how to listen, how to accept differences, how to grasp and embrace all interests, even if we're not convinced. It's not important are we convinced or not, but it's very important that we allow the other party to address their opinions to the full. Everybody has a point of view about things, and we need to allow these differences to appear between us, because it's the first stage of resolving all conflicts that may appear in the way.
Right. So when we listen to the other party, we also allow him or her to let go, to
vent it
kick
out.
out the energy. Yeah.
True. It's very important that people also take out all their emotions, all the disturbing emotions that they have. They need to take them out. Sometimes people are in need to get out all the annoying emotions without searching for a solution. The solution is not the issue as much as getting the emotions out.
Right.
So they are expecting the other party to respect that and to embrace that.
Yeah, so
That's the
the advice to bow to the wind, if you will, or to let go at times, and just to be passive and take the hit is a good advice.
Is extremely important and is extremely beneficial, because there is another element that I want to talk about as well, is the trust. People should feel that we trust each other. I need to feel that I trust you. Trust is a very generic word. In particular, what I mean by trust, that I trust that you're listening. I trust that you are analyzing what I'm saying. I trust that you give me the respect that I need. And this comes as we go. It's something that is built. It's a lifetime experience. It's not something that you can count on all of a sudden.
Right.
So that's why allowing me getting off all my emotions, stating my opinion to the full, is very important, even if I'm not convinced. I can be convinced, I might not be convinced later on. It's not the issue now. It's important that we listen and we respect each other's opinions and differences.
Right. A very important first step here on building an effective communication.
Correct.
Then what? You know, after listening and learning how to listen.
We should expect that everybody is a package. That we're contained of nice things and bad things, and we're not complete. We're humans. We're always incomplete,
right.
And we should understand this fact and grasp it and believe in it. So,
as we say, perfection is only for
correct,
Allah.
Correct. And we have agreed on this great union, which is called marriage, and we agreed on it from the start, and we need to expect that we will have issues coming out, problems, challenges. We need to be prepared for it. We need to make sure that we want to step on it. There must be a will deep inside everyone that we need to step on it. We don't want to increase it. We want to enlarge it. We want to step on it. So we should go through any conversation with this will deep inside. So knowing that we're incomplete helps a lot, grasping the differences and the defaults of the other person as well. This is one thing. The second thing is appreciating differences, not only understanding differences, is appreciating differences, because
that's difficult.
It's very difficult, but we're like the puzzles, actually. And I think that there is a very famous say that opposite attracts. It's very famous and it's very true, based on an experience, that opposite attracts at times. And like the puzzle pieces, we like to fill each other. So I need to understand the differences. I need to appreciate it. I need to make sure that the other party feels that I understand it as well.
Right.
Then seems complicated a little bit, but it's very important.
It must be.
Yeah.
Then, you know, how to speak. Any advices on how to speak, how to relay your message, how to stress on the points you want relayed?
It depends on the situation. If the situation is heated, we need to make it short. We need to express our opinions with the I message, not the you message. It's very offensive. The you message is forbidden in such situations. My concern is, my opinion is, I see that you are, but it's not you were defensive, you were offensive, you're so indifferent, you're so not, it's not you, it's not always pointing the fingers.
That's right, but when you start saying I too much, then you'll have probably the wife telling you, oh, you just keep on saying I, you only think of yourself, you're selfish, you're so egoistic. So
it takes two to tango. And I think she needs to understand that this is the way we're communicating all the time. There must be a quality, solid conversation takes place between us in very calm atmospheres, that this is the way we want to communicate together later on. If things get heated, we need to listen to the full, we need to understand, so we need to talk about it first, me and her, in a very calm situation, then we can manage in heated situations. We should not exaggerate, we should not make it every statement starts with the I, we should balance, but the other person should understand that it's my perception. It might be right, it might be wrong, maybe I got you wrong. So it's my perception, it's not an opinion, it's not a judgment. We should suspend judgments as much as possible, and we need to make sure that you're not putting any sort of words that is very offensive to the other party. You probably know them quite well. Everybody knows what frustrates the other person. So we need to avoid it as much as possible.
Right. How to avoid being nervous? Again, this is another, I guess, important point where when a discussion is out there to try to resolve a conflict, and this is not easy all the time and sometimes you might find that the husband or the wife, I mean, they might be exchanging roles here. Sometimes you'll see the husband nervous, sometimes the wife, sometimes both. So what do we do in
It's not avoidable. It's not avoidable. It will happen. I think the most important thing, in my opinion, in this particular case, that if they have children, they should avoid the conflict in front of the children. I think this is what matters to me the most, because that's what makes future problems that we're unable to resolve. It's going to be too late to resolve when it affects their characters. So it will happen that things will get heated between us. I think the full understanding of the character in front of you makes it's a base to this, because I understand what's the component of your character, what are the parts of your personality. I know this for sure. I try to avoid frustrating you, provoking you in the things, that the areas, the red lines that I know that they are extremely dangerous. So I need to avoid this from the early start as much as possible. The other party is the same as well. They should understand the map of your character as well, and they try to avoid things that provoke you the most.
Usually we say, and I'm not sure if this is right, but it probably is, we want your opinion as a human development specialist, that wives understand their husbands better than husbands do understand their wives. And basically, men always, that there's the famous, theory that, we don't know what women want, actually.
True.
So is it true that most wives will understand their husbands more than most husbands do understand or grasp the personality of their wives?
It could be true. I cannot make it a rule, but it could be true. I cannot verify that or validate it now, because it depends on the emotional intelligence of each person, and it varies between women and men, obviously. So it's not a rule here. But women are full of emotions. They are two sensitive creatures, and we need to deal with them based on that. And because they think with their emotions the most, they act upon their emotions. I think they claim they understand their husbands more than what men do, because men are more practical at times, and they ignore sort of little details that they matter to women. So maybe what you're saying is partially correct, because they think with their emotions, which is something, the very high level human interaction, and it's very unique, and it's based on gut feeling, something that is extremely unique. So this is why probably it gets right results.
Right. There's something about, avoiding being nervous. You might want to, to let go and to stay calm, but you might find the other party exploiting this. I mean, it could happen vice versa. The aggressive party or the aggressor that day will just continue beating because the other party is staying calm or allows it. So what do we do about this?
I think we need to allow them to do this, but in a limit. There must be a protocol between both parties, that there are limits we should not exceed. And these limits are agreed upon since the start. There are certain words that we cannot say, there are certain actions that we cannot do, and as long as this protocol is kept, I think the other party will have tolerance to whatever happens. But I think we should allow the other party to steam off their heat as well. There is no problem with that, but not in front of children.
Right. Something about listening and speaking. I mean, often you will see both speaking at the same time, both trying to get a louder voice.
True.
And so is that an alarm bell that if we start, raising the volume, each party start raising and hitting maximums in volume, that's an alarm bell?
It is, and we should stop running the conversation for the moment, and we can continue later on. It's an alarming thing, like what you said, that it's not going anywhere, and if it's going to go somewhere, it's not going to go to the place we both want. So this is why we need to stop for the moment, and we can continue later, so everybody takes a deep breath, and then we can come to it later on. But this is a difficult story itself, because when you're too emotional, you want to address your opinion now. And I think this is the challenge, that people should train themselves that they can cut off the conversation all of a sudden, even if they haven't finished their opinion yet. And what we need to kill at this moment is the pride,
right?
Because we get too egoistic, that we need to make sure that we're right, and the other person understands we're right. It's not our fault. It's not our mistake. If we let go with our ego a little bit in similar situations, things will flow smoother.
Right. Some human development specialists say that if there is a problem, then maybe it's better not to discuss it than to discuss it. I mean,
I understand.
Is that
no,
true?
It is not true. I think it's true what you're saying, that they said so. Some people said so, but I'm saying that it's not good. It's not for the greater good for this union, because we need to face problems. We need to learn how to confront each other. But it's about the how. It's not the what to say. It's about how to saying. So,
but if each side, starts pinpointing on each and every difference, then it could get ugly. I mean, and you said earlier, opposites attract, and that must be also true. So, and we are all so different. I mean, not just men and women, but I mean, you're so different from your brother. I mean, subhanallah. Each of us is a world of on his own or on her own.
True. So we need to be balanced in dealing with this issue in general. You're right as well, but we need to be balanced, meaning that we need to accept differences, and we need to confront challenges, and we need to do everything. So this is a lifetime experience with that person, whether a brother, whether a father, whether a wife, whether a husband. It depends always how do you deliver your message. There is always a way. How you criticize, how do you advise, how you make sure that how the feeling of that you care goes to the other person. So it always has to come from this perspective, that I care things to be better. I need to accept certain things, and I need to work on certain things. We need to work on them together. We need to change them together. It's not like I'm ordering you to change it for the sake of myself. I'm helping you to do that. We need to do that, and I want you to help me knowing my own weaknesses and how to develop them as well.
But at times you'll find one of the sides telling the other, it's not that I'm ordering you to do it for me, but it's for your own good. Yeah, I mean, you hear this a lot.
It's a common mistake. We should not use these words. I'll tell you, using words is very important. Sometimes we use random terms, but they are very impactful.
But the intention might be, truthful, really, as an intention.
Do I see your intention, or it's only expressed through your words? I think it's expressed through your words. So what appears to me is your words, and I judge your words, not your intention. Only God judges the intentions.
SubhanAllah, SubhanAllah. Mr. Hasib, dear brothers and sisters, let's take in now Sister Zainab from the United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Zainab. Thank you for calling us. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum to our Al-Huda viewers. How are you, Brother Muhammad?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Sister Zainab?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. I just got through this topic and it seems very interesting. One thing I want to highlight for the family issues is the one thing like the comparisons we do in our relationships.
Yes.
This is a common habit, going to somebody's place, comparing your husband with their husband, their wife with your wife, the children. And especially, it really does very bad with the children because they get into different kind of complexes, which are not so obvious in the childhood, but when they grow up, their complexes also grow up with these comparisons.
Very true.
So I think we should compare only in our imans and it should be very clear to our children and us as Muslims that comparisons comparing for the sake of comparison should not be our priority.
Barakallah.
And second thing, I think the patience and the thankfulness to Allah for what we have is the key for the success of the relations.
Subhanallah, alhamdulillah. Barakallahu fiki, Sister Zainab. And Mr. Hasib will be talking about this point now, please. I mean, the comparisons and how dangerous they could be, as Sister Zainab said, especially in the future, especially for kids.
What she mentioned is drastically important because comparisons are poisoning. There are some poisons in all relationships. Comparisons are one of them. We are grown up, we were brought up as well, comparing each other and comparing between the good people and the bad people. And our parents did so, unfortunately, at a very long period of time. Ever since we were at the school, there is that person in the family and your relatives that they are always compared to. Look how much he's studying, look how much he's obeying his parents. They thought
again the motive might be
exactly
just to give a motive, or the intention might have been good, but
it was good. I'm sure of that. They wanted to create a role model to you, but that was not the way you should create role models. It's the way you're having animosity. You're having people feel always that they are not good with themselves. They cannot accept themselves. There is no self-acceptance. They cannot realize the areas of strength and weaknesses of their own and how to work on them. They're always comparing their capabilities with others. So commenting on what she said also, comparing husbands and wives.
Very dangerous.
This is very poisoning. This is very toxic because this poisons the whole relationship because you're never satisfied because we're all different and God gave us all what we need and what's good for us because if you were given something else you would have been somebody else as well. So it's very fairly distributed and we should understand it from this perspective.
You will hear a lot of wives talk about their husbands maybe in a bad way, others talk in a good way. Others say that he doesn't spend enough money on us. Others would say he doesn't give us enough of his time. Men and surely men who talk about their wives in a bad way and specify certain things must be really going astray. But again, we want to stay with this because it does happen, unfortunately, a lot in our societies. I mean, look at X or look at Y.
Sure.
I mean, she's the ideal wife, or he is the perfect husband, and then jealousy might come in.
True. I understand what you said, and I understand that we're human beings. We're all we all do mistakes, and we all think this way. There is no one.
And hasad also might come in.
True as well. It's a very dangerous and commonly known in the society disease. There are two sides here, two parts of the story. The first part is totally religious. It's totally comes from your heart that you're too satisfied about what God gives you. Is given you all the time.
Like Sister Zainab said.
Exactly.
So
This is the first part. The second part is something that you train yourself doing. It's very scientific, that you need always to accept what you have, hands-on. You accept all materialistically what you have. So you accept the people in your life. You're accepting yourself at the first place. You're accepting your capabilities. You're in love with your life in general. Even if it contains lots of tragedies at times, who doesn't have a tragedy in their life? We're all humans, and it's life. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. So we're all suffering till the end, and it's a truth. It's a lifetime truth, and we need to accept this as well, that we might have things that other people don't. I might have things that they don't have.
For sure.
And I might not see the full picture. I definitely cannot see the full picture, because there are things that I cannot see, and they are suffering from, but I cannot see it. They are not seen to me.
And this way would be, I guess, would give a protection from the sin of enviness.
True.
From both sides.
Absolutely.
I mean, we'd be protecting ourselves and others
Absolutely.
as
Absolutely.
well.
Very
Yes.
important.
Barakallahu feek. So the caller, the dear sister from the United Arab Emirates mentioned the children. We want to talk also about how to resolve conflicts between parents and children. I guess that the word conflict would be, I guess, too big for young toddlers, but might arise later on. But before we do this, because we've been talking mainly about husband and wife, what about negotiations? I mean, is it recommended, or because some wives would tell you, hey, we're not in a war, this is not politics, we shouldn't compromise, or is compromise and negotiations part of the game?
You're talking between
husband and wife.
Okay. Yeah. Negotiations are very important, are very vital and essential. But again, it depends on the time for it, because sometimes there is no point to negotiate things. Sometimes you need to allow the other party to choose what they want. You should not negotiate and discuss everything. Not everything is discussable at times. This message is for women and men. So sometimes you need to let go and allow and accept. And sometimes you need to negotiate when it's critical, when it's about your opinion and mine, and we need to build a third alternative or opinion that gives us both satisfaction. Right. It's quite important.
So the barometer is us. I mean, the partners.
And your judgment on the situation.
Right. Dear brothers and sisters, allow us to take a short break here and come back with Mr. Tamer Hasib, Human Development Specialist, and continue our discussion about how to avoid first conflicts, and then how to resolve them when they do happen. And they will, of course, happen. And we will be trying to tackle in the second part of the episode here, resolving conflicts between parents and children. Please do stay with us. We'll be back shortly, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Never alone. You are never alone.
Huda TV is proud to announce the launching of its first loyalty and rewarding program. Hoda Fans Club aims at building a one-to-one relationship with our viewers. For an annual fee, club members varying from platinum, gold and silver card holders will be eligible to receive a great range of benefits, services. You will gain access to download versatile programs from educational, dawah programs and nasheed's clips. Also, your club membership card is a backstage studio pass created for those interested to explore behind-the-scene activities. You will enjoy priority when calling into live shows. Also, you can view samples of new programs in production before being aired worldwide. Take this opportunity to join us online and participate in our loyalty program on Hoda TV. Hoda Fans Club, where fans of Islamic media meet. Europe's forgotten heritage.
This is a sad reminder of the past history of the Muslims in the city. Nowadays, there are no Muslims anymore. These are the mosques that have remained. And it is really sad.
Wait a second, this is Morocco. No, this is Tunisia, Algeria, North Africa, Egypt. No, this is all Europe, and this is all part of Spain. Islam spread first in Africa, and then from Africa it came over to Europe, and then it did developing work in Europe. Now, we look the other way around nowadays. The compass was invented by the Muslims. Many important inventions came from the time of the Muslims on the Iberian Peninsula. Instead of people becoming less in battles, as we normally know, as we know in battles obviously people die, but no, what was happening? The Spaniards recognized and realized the superiority of the Muslims and the treatment that the Muslims gave to the Christians and the Jews in Spain at the time, that they happily accepted Islam, many of them.
An Ottoman fountain, as we've seen it before in other places in Greece. Now, it has some Arabic on top, as well as it had some Arabic down, where the tap used to be, or where the water was coming out.
Pack your bags, grab your passports, and join Dr. Steph Karis as he takes us through Europe and rediscovers Europe's forgotten heritage, only on Hoda TV.
Never alone. You are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Still waiting for your phone calls on 00202 38 555 248 or 249, or your contact via Skype on our Skype account, Huda _TV, as Sister Zainab contacted us from the United Arab Emirates earlier in the program, or your Facebook message via facebook.com/familyissues, one word, and our email is familyissues@huda.tv. We're still here with Mr. Tamer Hasib, Human Development Specialist. Mr. Hasib, the children, now we want to focus about, we want to go through the same things, how to listen, how to speak, how to trust, how to control our emotions, absorb the anger and negotiate. But when it comes now, parents vis-a-vis children, sometimes we have the discussion like father and mother make a grouping of the family and start, giving a lecture, or taking one of the kids and giving him a lecture. Sometimes it's just the father instructing one of his or her sons or daughters, or it's the mother. So how do we go about this? And any specific advices, of course, for the parents?
I have 3 tips in this respect. The first tip that and it might be strange, but it's very beneficial and important, that we should have a psychiatrist along with us in our trip of bringing up children, because there are things that we need always to take the opinions of professionals and people who understand scientifically on those topics. Never underestimate a problem or a sign in a kid. You need to raise this up always, not to make your life always in a hush, or it's too complicated. we will try to simplify things as much as possible, but psychiatrists sometimes give lots of help in this regard.
Right.
This is,
Allow me to stop
sure.
you here. Mr. Hasib, we have with us Sister Jamila from Dubai, from the UAE. Thank you very much, Sister Jamila. Assalamu alaikum. Please, Kamila. Yes, sorry. Please go ahead, Sister. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for calling us.
Walaikum assalam. My name is Kamila. I'm from UAE.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, hello, we hear you. Thank you for calling us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Actually, the problem I face in my family, I have an elder son who is 11 years old and who seems to be quite weak in his studies. But as a mother, when I sit to take his studies, I feel that I become very personal to it. And at times, it becomes a bit difficult for me to handle his studies. Or how can I actually make him understand what is the importance of the studies in his life?
You're talking about the husband or the children?
My children, 11-year-old son.
The 11-year-old son specifically.
Yeah. About
You feel he's getting into a habit of lying?
No. About the studies, he is very weak in his studies, and he takes his studies very lightly.
He doesn't give enough attention to reading or academics in general? Or is it about reading Quran and religion? All right. I think we lost Sister Camilla. Thank you very much for calling us from the UAE. You'll find a lot of parents complaining that their children are not giving enough attention to reading, to memorizing, whether it is Quran or religious stuff, or even academically at school. Of course, 11-year-old boys love to play. I mean,
sure.
Nothing must
we all
be,
love to play.
Yeah, exactly. So what do we do with these, boys who are, just hard to control?
It depends. How do we introduce this to them? Why they are doing that? They should understand the reasons behind everything. We should treat them as adults as much as possible. There is nothing that is obligatory here. It is obligatory in the end, but when we're talking to our kids, and 11 years old boy is still a kid as well, we should understand their motives, their needs, their wants. There is a difference between the three parts. We should understand that. We should address it right. Not everybody should be a copy-paste from us. It's a very common mistake that we want them to be like what we are, or even better. That's good, but it's better in which sense and in which shape. We should have a very deep understanding with their motives, their interests, and the things that they should do, even regardless of their interests. Like they should pray, for example, even if they don't like it. But again, how will we convince them to do that? Reading religious texts to them all the time will not convince them. They need to be convinced. They need to understand. They need to use their brains all the time. We need to train them how to use their brains. So it's very important that we have common conversations every now and then. We need to have a space
so it's like
where we talk.
They need to understand that when they read Quran or memorize it, then this is that will make them get what they want from Allah, and that praying will make them happier and will give them better prizes.
The impact. Yeah. Is very important. The influence of what you're doing and the reflection on your life.
And when it comes to academics, I mean, can we say to an 11-year-old boy, hey, look, boy, those who study and who get good grades are the ones successful in their jobs, like X, Y, and Z, and those who don't are the ones who who are suffering, like X, Y, and Z? Or would that be a comparison?
I think this is a fact the kids already know. It doesn't need from us to stress on it. But what is needed here is to accompany those kids in their journey for success. We're not putting them on the route to succeed, we're one of the enablers to have them succeed in the future.
One of the most important.
What is very most important enablers to make them succeed. We should accompany them in every single part of this succession trip.
Yes.
So we're with them. We're advising, we're giving help, we're understanding their moments of weaknesses and their moments of interest as well. You're welcoming their sadness moments, you're welcoming their happy moments, you're fostering their ability to play at the right times, and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good we talked about this because it's back to school time anyway. At least here in the Middle East region, and I guess globally as well. It must be back to school time. We have with us, Mr. Hasib, dear brothers and sisters, Brother Razin from Sri Lanka. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for calling us from Sri Lanka, and go ahead, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, brother, go ahead.
Hello?
We hear you, brother. Go ahead.
Wait. Excuse me. Hello?
Yes, hello. You're live on family issues. Go ahead, brother. All right. Thank you anyway, Brother Razin, all the way from Sri Lanka. Alhamdulillah, we have our Muslim brothers and sisters there in Sri Lanka watching us here on Huda TV. Allahumma lak alhamdu wa shukr. Mr. Hasib, back again to the tips when parents are, having a tough talk or with their kids.
It's about listening again.
An important one, at least. Let's not say tough. An important one.
All right. It's about listening. It's about understanding that those kids have interests and different interests than ours. They cannot see the full picture that we do. We see the full picture most of the time. They cannot see except some particles. So it's very important for us to enlighten them with the big picture gradually. So I don't want you to do that. Why? The one-word answer maybe is not enough at all times. I know we're running out of patience at times and we need to give orders so they do it and that's it. But we can do this as well. It's not bad. But along the way, this should not be the trend. The trend that we talk and we respect their minds and their interests. And it starts from an early beginning, since they are 2 and 3 years. What do they like to do when they go to the nursery? What do they like to play with? What do they spend their time doing? And it gives indications for future interests. So we should embrace this, capitalize on it if possible. This is the second thing. The third thing, it's very important that we build the 2 columns of respect and fear in the psychology of a kid. And it should not one of those should exceed the other. They should respect you, they should fear you, they should love you a lot.
The love is there anyway. I mean, subhanAllah.
Exactly. But we need to foster it and enforce it.
Yeah.
True. We need to foster it and enforce it and make things to water it, if we may say, if you will. So this thing should be given to them unconditionally since the early beginning, and they will feel it as well.
Yes. And when we talk to them, about something, an important issue, whether it is that they are not, performing their prayers, or that they are doing terribly at school, or you're afraid that they are going astray in some way or another. Is it better that we talk to them as a group, mother and father together, or is it better to make them separate talks, or is it better to give the responsibility of solving or resolving this conflict to one side so that the kid wouldn't get frustrated if he keeps hearing?
Yes. It starts from the early beginning on the way I bring up children from the start, but again, it's never too late. I can always straighten things out and recorrect stuff. Giving feedback to a kid should be in private, and it should not be in public in front of others, or even the two parents together. I should not terrify the kid that he's faced from two individuals, even if they are the mother and the father. So things should be very secretly and between one party only. And
definitely not in front of the brothers or sisters.
Absolutely. This is a common mistake, and we should not do that. It's forbidden. It brings the kid into the defensive mode, and they haven't got anything out of the conversation. So feedback should be in private, and we decide if it should be on the spot or later on. It depends on the importance of the topic. So that's important.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Tamer Hasib. We wish we had more time. I guess in future episodes, inshallah, we might get more into in-depth here about how to avoid and then solve and resolve conflicts. Mr. Tamer Hasib, Human Development Specialist, thank you very much for being with us. Jazakumullah khairan. And thank you, dear brothers and sisters, for watching us here. Our date is next week, same time. Inshallah. Until then, please do keep your emails going. Your comments and suggestions always mean a lot to us. That's at family issues at huda.tv and also facebook.com/family issues. That's one word. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your home.